Hello and welcome to Different Perspectives. I'm Paul Indiho in Washington. Today we are following a remarkable journey of innovation emerging from Uganda. The Kayoola E-Coach, an electric bus designed and manufactured in Uganda, is currently on a 13,000 kilometer or over 800 miles expedition from Kampala to Cape Town. It is the first journey of its kind for a commercial-grade African electric bus, and it is putting green mobility and industrial design and African engineering on the world stage. This expedition, called the Pearl to the Cape, is providing something powerful. Africa can build, deploy, and scale high-value electric transport solutions across borders, markets, and terrain. And we are lucky to have the team behind us. The people who are behind this expedition will be joining us shortly. But first, let's start off with maybe listening to what some of the people on the road are saying.
My name is Engineer Fred Matovu. I'm the Senior Manager in charge of Powertrain, EE and Information Systems. So currently we are having the Trans-Africa Grand Expedition where we're driving the bus all the way from Uganda to the Cape in South Africa. I am in charge of the charging infrastructure. Why we need the charging infrastructure? Because the bus that we're driving is electric. It's an e-coach. And as you see, we are covering over 13,000 kilometers. And we need charging spots installed at different stops for us to make sure that we complete the journey. So my task and my team has been going ahead of the bus to make sure that we have designated charging points where the bus comes and parks for all the 13,000 kilometers. And as you can see right now, we have already one charging spot that has been set up for the charger to ensure that the bus can charge. So one of the biggest issues that we've been having, first of all, there is no charging network on the route that we're using. From Uganda to the Cape, there is no charging network that can support this size of bus. It's a 13-meter coach. It has a battery which is over 422 kilowatt hours. So we need a DC fast charger. So one of our role has been making sure that we put in place the charging stations before the bus comes, and this has been one of the critical roles for the team to ensure that the charger is installed before. But one of the key things that has been hindering us our progress has been the fact that most of the locations where we had planned to stop, we do not have sufficient power to support our chargers. So we spend some time looking for the particular spots where we can always get the capacity that we need to power up our chargers so that the bus can charge. But moving forward, we need to establish a charging network.
I've watched the video for the assembly, but and still the way it looks in the picture and the way it is very different. But this is it's fantastic. I think this is now an opportunity for business people, for the private sector and the public to embrace this innovation that is now put to test. If the bus if this coach can move from Kampala, the power of Africa, to Cape, and then it's testimony that the product is made for Africa. And the Zambian business people should embrace this opportunity. Yes.
I think what we've been able to demonstrate from the time we set off 8 days ago from Kampala, we've indicated that the Kayoola E-Coach, the 2025 model, has the capacity to actually perform on all manner of terrain on the African continent. We've had a good experience in the Iringa Hills in Tanzania, and it was amazing to see how the E-Coach performed there, consuming very good battery and delivering us to our destination safe and sound, and we're able to get there and charge and all that. So that in itself really shows that it's possible for us to shift fossil engines to e-mobility and be able to make the saving, especially in terms of the operation costs for any business person who is doing transport, public transport. And that really should be a message of hope for the African continent.
It's amazing for the African nation, for the youth, and having an electric vehicle traveling all the way from Uganda, Tanzania, through Zambia, into South Africa. I think it's a huge achievement, not only for our friends in Uganda, but as Africa as a whole, as we look forward to green energy. And what fascinates me is some of the components, or most of the components, are locally manufactured in Uganda by young men and women of Uganda. So I know within the next couple of years, there'll be a lot of employment opportunities, creatives, mechanics, scientists, and I think as Africa we're heading into the right direction, and I think it's time for us as Africans to harness the power of Africa.
Well, gentlemen, that's nicely done. I have to congratulate you all. This expedition is led by Kayoola Motors Corporation with the support from MTN Uganda, the Made in Uganda initiative, and the Science and Technology Secretariat. The Kayoola E-Coach is manufactured in Jinja and inspired by nearly 2 decades of research and innovation. And tonight, we bring you the people behind this mission. Fred Matovu, Senior Manager, Powertrain and Information System Engineering at Kayoola Motors, Shaban Senyange, Corporate Affairs Manager at Kayoola Motors, and Paul Luima, Senior Manager, Larger Enterprise, MTN Uganda. And of course, we'll also be joined by Engineer Ian Kavuma, also at Kayoola Motors. Gentlemen, welcome to Different Perspectives. Hello?
Yes, thank you so much, Paul.
Yes. Okay.
Checking in on my audio.
Very good. Okay, let's start with you, Fred. Maybe Fred set the stage for us. This is no longer a concept anymore. You are leading the way. You are driving a Ugandan-built bus across 6 countries in Africa. What does this moment mean for you and Kayoola Motors?
Yes, thank you, Paul, for the opportunity and giving us this platform. This moment is a moment of pride. It's a redefining moment for us as Kayoola Motors to showcase our work not only to our motherland, that's in Uganda, but to all the different African countries, our brothers and sisters. You will note that all the way from Uganda all the way to the Cape, these are Bantu speaking people. So you realize that most of the languages that we are interfacing with, we have so many common words, and the terminologies are all the same. So these are our brothers and sisters that we are interfacing currently with, and we are not just passing by, but we are moving with a product which has been tested, which has been built in Uganda, but it's built for Africa. It's built in Africa, and it's demonstrating what we are able to do as Uganda, but on the larger perspective as a continent, as Africa, what we can do together when we all combine our efforts. This is not something that can only be done by one country, but we need synergies in different areas for us to see that the industrial realization of Africa in this modern day is not limited by the boundaries. And this is what this expedition is all about, that we can have collaboration at different levels, and all this
is being demonstrated by the different key players that we're moving with on this expedition. So it is great to see that we are having one of our premium products, which is one of the latest products that we are having as Kayoola Motors, the 13-meter electric coach. It's a premium. It's the biggest electric coach on the African continent, and we are so proud to be part of the team that is showcasing it to the rest of our African brothers, but not only the African brothers, but to the rest of the world. What Africa is really able to do right now, and what we can do when we all put our efforts together, rhyming with what MTN is currently doing, saying that we shall be unstoppable. Yes, thank you.
Now let me go to Paul. Since you talked about MTN, Paul, this would not have been possible without the help and what MTN has done in terms of trying to make sure that this expedition succeeds. Bring us up to speed. What does this moment mean for you as well?
Yeah, first of all, Paul, thank you very much for hosting us today. I'll tell you that this is a very commendable and memorable day and a time for Africa, where we, showcasing to the world that we can do it as Africans and solving our own problems. So, and I also want to congratulate the government of Uganda, Kayoola Motors, I think for the work and the innovation that they are putting. As we all know that, you can't talk about innovation without the power of automating and innovation. So MTN recently repositioned itself from being a telco to a techco. And what that means is that we're trying to transform into a technology company. And we cannot do that without, emulating, trying to, do with, partners like Kayoola Motors. So Kayoola Motors, came. We started discussing with Kayoola Motors, and they showed us the journey that they're looking at in terms of automating and driving, the green mobility in the country and on the African continent. This was a very good opportunity that we believed that we can be able to, contribute to regarding connectivity and collaboration.
It looks like we've lost Paul. How about you, Shaban? Shaban, you are the communications person behind this team. What does it take to pull up
colleagues that are with the bus? Sorry,
please,
can you, Paul, can you hear me?
Okay, please finish your point. We had lost you for a minute. Yeah.
Yes. So what I was saying is that what we have done as MTN is to ensure that we connect the bus. So the bus is fully set up with managed Wi-Fi. So meaning all the passengers, all the colleagues that are on the 44, colleagues are able to still communicate back home in real time. They're able to, send their reports. They are working as we're moving. Secondly, we have enabled that Kayoola Motors can be able to track this bus from wherever it is across the, the entire journey by ensuring that we're putting a telemetry, tracking IoT solution. So meaning in real time, they can get reports. Where is the bus? What is, if have they stopped, and they're able to, support in real time as well. So that is the commitment that we're putting towards this journey. But we're not stopping here. We are ensuring that we work with Kayoola Motors in their ultimate innovation for all the buses, the vans, and all the other automotives that they're looking at to ensure that we drive, connectivity, we drive, collaboration together. So it's a partnership that we're really, saying boldly that we're going to work on together with Kayoola Motors to ensure that we produce, cars that speak for Africa, but made by Africans.
Interesting. Shaban, you are the eyes and ears of this team on the ground. What does it take to pull off something like this?
Thank you so much, Paul. Just building on what Paul and Fred have shared, it takes partnerships. It takes a lot of stakeholder engagements to be able to pull off something like this. But just to really speak to the messaging that we've had, there's often a conversation around Africa mainly being a consumer for technology. And we are trying to change that narrative, and we are changing that narrative with this expedition to say that Africa is not just a consumer, it is a manufacturer of technology of this nature. And so for us, the trip is not just moving from point A to point B or from Uganda to Cape Town. This vehicle is carrying a message of hope. It's carrying a message of innovation, of transformation, and shaping the African narrative. And through the interactions that we're having with different stakeholders, whether it's communities or the local people we're interacting with at different border points, at different charging stations, to just re-echo the message that Africa is capable. We can do this. We can come up with solutions to address our very own challenges. And it really makes me happy that when you look at what's happening online, when you look at both mainstream and digital platforms, that we now have a unified voice of people who are rooting for us to actually get to Cape Town, and everybody's asking, how far have you guys reached? How can we jump on board? And that's the kind of uniformity that we need if we're to be able to change the African narrative. And maybe if just to add a bit of perspective, the other message that we're really carrying is around sustainability. And we are saying that, we've been able to cover 4,493 kilometers, and we are in Gaborone, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right,
Gaborone.
in Botswana. And, that mileage that we've been able to cover, we've been able to avoid about 2,066 kilograms of carbon dioxide. And so that is the message that we are carrying forward as we get to Cape Town. We still have a lot to cover, but for us, it's how do we touch the hearts of young people, bus operators, people into business, schools, and really, this goes beyond us as Kira Motors, but having people on board like MTN. How do we then leverage partnerships from private sector to be able to drive this narrative forward? And that is what gets me really excited.
Interesting. I've been a huge fan of Kira Motors. I think this is a huge moment for innovation in Africa. Innovation in Uganda, I was remarkably impressed by the level and the quality of expertise that you guys have displayed. I visited Kira Motors earlier this year, at the beginning of this year. I came along with my family, and to this day, my two little girls tell me that was the coolest thing that I did for them. And one of them, in fact, wants even to come and do an internship when she's ready at Kira Motors. I hope you guys, Paul, you're listening. Maybe you can provide that opportunity. I think you guys have set the stage for Africa, for all those people who aspire to build things that are actually tangible. You can touch, you can feel, you can see the thing moving. What does this expedition mean for Africa and the future of greener mobility? And I think maybe either one of you can take on this one.
Yeah, so one of the things that we are doing as Kira Motors is making sure that we position Uganda as a net source for mobility solutions on the African continent. So we've been having this narrative for quite long, and there have been sections of the audience and the public that are probably have been thinking that probably immobility is not feasible for long distance travel, and probably it is maybe meant for very small mobility solutions, maybe like 2, 3-wheelers, 4-wheelers, but having one of the biggest coaches on the African continent, which is electric, and it's moving all the way from Uganda to Cape Town, is a clear demonstration that right now this is the time for us to embrace e-mobility, and it is something which is feasible. We are doing this in a way that is very sustainable. We are having all players coming in. You realize that when we provide the mobility solutions, there are other key players that are contributing to enhance the experience of the passengers, of the people who are using this mobility solution, to see that there's maximum value that is delivered to the different users of this mobility solution. So it is something which is re-echoing the message that we've been passing out as Kayoola Motors over time, that e-mobility is the way to go. It is not only meant for short distance travel, and as we have a dream as Africa, having the concept of moving from connecting Cairo to the Cape, we are showing that this is something which is feasible, and as long as we have the right infrastructure in place. We've already tested this, even without or with minimal infrastructure which is meant for e-mobility being in place. We have demonstrated that you can actually travel on an electric vehicle for over 13,000 kilometers, even in an era where there isn't established infrastructure that is meant to support e-mobility. With even the existing infrastructure, we can still do it. But this is just a clear message which is showing that once we have organized and we have planned and we have put into place the right policy framework, the infrastructure, and having the will to have this done, it is something which is very feasible. And I believe that this is what this expedition is really all about. Yes, thank you.
I was going to go to Paul, but I don't see Paul on the screen. How about you, Shaban? You have been leading the way in terms of trying to put the message out there. What kind of reaction are you getting from people who come to see or who have come to attend some of the press conferences that you are leading?
There's one particular one that has really stuck with me when we were in Tanzania, and he was walking around the bus and he was looking for the exhaust pipe. Very, very curious with how we were even moving. So we told him it doesn't, we don't fuel the car, we charge it. And he was very curious. He kept on asking, where does the charger go, where the battery is. So we're able to take him around and show him. And then at the end he says, this is not a fuel one. This is for umeme, which means electricity. That really stuck with me because it was very relatable. But even the narrative back home, obviously, there was conversations around, is the bus going to reach Cape Town? And so everybody was on the edge of their seats wondering whether we're going to reach or not. And one of the things that we've really done in terms of communicating that is at every major milestone, every end of day, we're able to track how much mileage we've covered, what percentage that represents, with the 13,000 kilometers, but also having a bit of statistics around, the amount of carbon dioxide we've been able to offset in terms of fuel that we've saved. If this was a fuel vehicle, how much, have we been able to save? Because what we're also trying to do is we're not trying to tell people that electric mobility is possible. The conversation now is it's possible, it's accessible, it is affordable. And to be able to do that, you need to create a comparative advantage of using electric vehicles versus using diesel-powered engines. And that's the conversation we're having. So then it just stops being just us getting from Kampala to Cape Town, but really creating awareness. And like Fred said, I'll speak to this being possible, but also being aware of the challenges that we experience along the way. We still have direction to go in terms of infrastructure, into having a robust charging system, but us jumping on board and getting there, it really shows commitment from us just saying we are making vehicles in Uganda for Africa, or Uganda being, a center of excellence when it comes to electric manufacturing, but we are saying these vehicles are made in Uganda for Africa, and we are showing that they are made in Uganda for Africa by taking this expedition on. And along the way, it really informs us of what charging infrastructure looks like. What are the challenges? How do we inform policymakers on direction into where the touch points are into making this come to life? And along the way, we are learning what that even means. We're engaging with local communities in terms of, the transition into that, whether it's someone young, whether it's schools. We had a school engagement, and the excitement on those kids' faces. I wish I was that when I saw an electric vehicle in my school. Maybe it would have influenced me maybe doing what Fred does. But it's really humbling to be a part of this and seeing people really embrace us that way. And we know the story started in Uganda, but it's gone beyond every border that we cross. Even the people who work at customs and immigration, they're like, once we put a stamp in your passport, can we check out the bus? And then we have them on board, and they see the interior. And at home, we like to say this is a plane on the road, and because it's built for comfort, it's built for long distance, it builds for us being able to cover this distance without feeling the weight of it. And really, that wouldn't be possible telling this story without having a digital partner like MTN, because it's really, really been helpful into having the experiences that we have on the road really go beyond the areas that we're actually traversing.
You mentioned MTN. I was going to go to him, but I don't see him there. He's just off the screen. But let me come back to you, Fred. I watched the video earlier where you're talking about some of the challenges crossing the borders, the terrain, the long stretches in real time. How does this journey change the narrative about what you engineers do, you African engineers are doing to make things like this happen?
Right from the start, as I said, as Kayoola Motors, this is one of our premium products. It's one of our latest products that we are putting on the road. It has been tested back in Uganda, but now we are also trying it for the first time in different markets, in different weather conditions, different terrains. Of course, there has always been that narrative that probably the things that we are doing, maybe in our country, maybe Uganda, not only Uganda but on the African continent at large, there's been some kind of skepticism, but we can't really blame, because that has been the story over decades and generations, because we've always been taking a back seat and allowing other people come to do things on our behalf, and that has gone on for generations, and people somehow lost confidence in the engineering work and maybe some of the solutions that we've been providing as engineers. But this electric coach is now a demonstration of what we really can do as the African engineers, particularly Uganda and Kayoola Motors. And this bus has been able to demonstrate this. The good thing is that this bus is going through different cities, and people can actually see the bus, they can feel it, they can touch it. It has gone through different border posts. There's no way you can deny that maybe that bus was maybe somehow it appeared somewhere and then disappeared. So it's a declaration, and it's a validation of the work that we can do, engineering work and innovation that we can do as Africa, but also as Kayoola Motors, as Uganda, and this product has really performed so well, given the specifications of this bus. it has been able to perform in different terrains. It has been able to consume the energy conservatively in a way that is going to maximize the range of this bus, such that it can give maximum value to whoever would need such a similar product in future.
Paul,
Yes.
let me come to you. Your colleagues talked about partnerships, how partnerships are very, very critical in doing something like this. MTN has transformed this vehicle into a connected platform. I think Shaban talked about how people are able to send and receive messages in real time. How important is real-time data and connectivity for the success of this expedition?
Thank you, Paul, for that question. I think for us, whatever we are trying to do here, if it's not transmitted back home in real time, I think the story will be really mute. So it is very powerful for us to ensure that the information reaches all the people who are following in real time. Not only that, the government of Uganda, the guys managing, the bus from back home in Kiramotos, everyone needs to be able to get this information in real time. So definitely the powerful, experience to ensuring that we have that connectivity on the bus helps us to make sure that at all times this information is transmitted. There are key metrics that the guys are doing, and someone was saying that it's like a living laboratory right now. As the bus is moving across the terrain, they're ensuring that they are taking tests on the battery temperature. They're taking tests how many kilometers have they covered, how many carbon emissions have they reduced. All that information must be remitted in real time, and even if there are any issues, they have to be remitted in real time. So MTN is ensuring that is a reality by creating that managed Wi-Fi on the bus to ensure that the bus is fully connected to and fro to the Cape, and also ensuring that even the guys managing the bus are able to track it in real time wherever it is, using our telemetry IoT tracking. But not only that, for us as MTN, this is not a Ugandan thing, but rather an African thing, because MTN is in over 18 OPCOs on the African continent. So we want to be able to support Kiramotos to spread this bus across their footprint. We were recently in Zambia, and it was a very exciting time where our Zambian OPCO received us, and the Kiramotos team to see, how we can collaborate in Zambia, how they can be able to support in terms of connecting that bus within, Lusaka and beyond. And that is the same conversation we're going to have in Eswatini. That's the same conversation we're having in South Africa. I'm thinking even in the future, talking about Ghana, Nigeria, all the big markets where MTN is, we are willing to be strategic partners in terms of connectivity and collaboration. So we're looking forward, we're excited, and we believe that there's a lot more that we can, drive through this partnership and innovation. So yeah, we Paul, back to you, just saying that we are very excited and looking forward to, articulating this partnership with Kiramotos. Yes, thank you.
Interesting. You just talked about how this is not a laboratory environment or a simulator. This is a real world driving experience, right? So let's talk about, I think Fred, you talked about this earlier. You talked about the infrastructure, the charging, how there is no infrastructure for this kind of experience or expedition. Maybe take us back to some of those challenges that you've had to encounter through this journey.
Yes, thank you, Paul. As I mentioned earlier, first we along the route that we are having from the Pearl to the Cape, which we are trying to establish as the Green Belt. Currently, there is no charging infrastructure, which is meant for an electric car of that size. So, in the charging infrastructure that we have, there is some infrastructure which is there that is supporting some of the small electric cars, like two-wheelers, some small four-wheelers in some of the countries. But this is all segmented infrastructure, which is done on a case by case. There is no strategic infrastructure which is in place to support the products that we're making as Kayoola Motors. So one of the challenges which we anticipated, of course, that is why we dared to take on this expedition. We knew the challenges that we're going to experience, but it's one of the things that we are meant to do as Kayoola Motors. We're supposed to be the trailblazers. We're supposed to show that some things can be done even in places where they are not existing. That is the only way we can demonstrate that some of these things are feasible. So the biggest challenge that we've been having is that there is no existing infrastructure in terms of charging. So what this means is that we have been tasked with making sure that we set up temporarily charging points for this bus, because this bus is electric and it has a range of 500 kilometers. So what this translates into is that we need to be charging this bus every 500 kilometers. And it being electric, our narrative is that we need to use the African grid. Africa is one of the continents where most of our generation is from renewable. Like in Uganda, we are having over 98% of our power coming from hydro dams. So one of the things that we're looking at in this expedition is to see that we charge this bus all the way to the Cape using the grid. So that is one of the things that has been one of the hard points that we've been really emphasizing as we are moving through the different cities, through the different areas. And of course, in some areas, because where the 500 kilometers places you, sometimes you can't really dictate because you are not in that country when they were planning for the infrastructure. So in some areas, we've found that the grid was really being tested. In some areas, we found that the grid was really stable. But one of the success stories that we have is that there has not been a point, and this is something that we should be able to celebrate as Africa. There has not been a point where on this route that we've failed to get a power supply from the grid. So however much there have been quite a number of challenges, but this is something which is a plus on our end, and we should be, with the right investment in our infrastructure, in the national grid, in different areas, and also having investment in charging infrastructure, we should be able to see e-mobility competing directly with other modes of transport that we are having currently on our roads. But that has been one of the biggest challenges. However, we prepared for it, and our chargers have been working exceptionally well. We've not had any challenges with the chargers. We've been able to set up 15. Right now, we are moving on to the 16th. We've been able to set up successfully 15 charging points in different locations, and we've been able to charge this bus so that it can move over the 4,500 kilometers that it has covered all the way as we're moving to the Cape.
Let's take a quick break and maybe hear from some of your other colleagues who are accompanying you on this journey.
Thank you.
Like something to eat, not forgetting the breeze. I really like how you make me believe this is life, but there's more I could see. That's why I call you my queen. The right height with no ice in your skin. Let me stop there. It's too much. It's too much.
Is it crazy that I'm homesick just 9 days into my trip from Uganda to South Africa? The familiarity and safety of home are calling my name, and yet, here I am. On the road, you realize that adventures are not just sunsets, selfies, and bragging rights. They're silence, they're discomfort, They're missing the places where people know your soul. They're learning that growth doesn't happen in comfort. It happens in the unknown. Home is my anchor, but this road...
She's eating it. She had a stomach upset. Now look, can never be me.
It's so good. It's just like insane. This road is shaping me into someone who can stand even when the anchor is far away.
I've watched the video for this assembly, but and so the way it looks in the picture and the way it is very different. But this is it's fantastic. I think this is now an opportunity for business people, for the private sector and the public to embrace this innovation that is now put to test. If the bus if this coach can move from Kampala, the power of Africa, to Cape, and then it's testimony that the product is made for Africa. And the Zambian business people should embrace this opportunity. Yes.
I think what we've been able to demonstrate from the time we set off 8 days ago from Kampala, we've indicated that the Kayoola E-Coach, the 2025 model, has the capacity to actually perform on all manner of terrain on the African continent. We've had a good experience in the Iringa Hills in Tanzania, and it was amazing to see how the E-Coach performed there, consuming very good battery and delivering us to our destination safe and sound, and we're able to get there and charge and all that. So that in itself really shows that it's possible for us to shift fossil engines to e-mobility and be able to make the saving, especially in terms of the operation costs for any business person who is doing transport, public transport, and that really should be a message of hope for the African continent.
It's amazing for the African nation, for the youth, and having an electric vehicle traveling all the way from Uganda, Tanzania, through Zambia, into South Africa. I think it's a huge achievement, not only for our friends in Uganda, but as Africa as a whole, as we look forward to green energy. And what fascinates me is some of the components, or most of the components, are locally manufactured in Uganda by young men and women of Uganda. So I know within the next couple of years, there'll be a lot of employment opportunities, creatives, mechanics, scientists, and I think as Africa, we're heading into the right direction, and I think it's time for us as Africans to harness the power of Africa.
Day 9 locked and ready here in Lusaka, Zambia, the home of the Chipolo Polos. But for us, we're heading to Livingstone. Press conference done in Zambia. Next stop, Livingstone.
Well, welcome back. If you are just joining us, we are streaming live. You can watch this conversation in real time on all the social media platforms. And to our audience watching us live and listening, we want to hear from you. Please drop us a comment in the comment sections below and tell us what you think about this grand expedition. Do you believe that this is the future of African mobility? Would you ride in a made-in-Uganda electric coach? Let us know what you think in the comments section below. I'm Paul Ndiho. This is a different perspectives, and today we are talking about Kayoola E-Coach and the Grand Trans-African Electric Expedition. My guests are Fred Matovu, Senior Manager, Powertrain and Information System Engineering at Kira Motors, Shaban Senyange, and Paul Luyima, Manager at Large Enterprise MTN Uganda, powering the digital and connectivity backbone to the journey. Gentlemen, welcome back to this platform. Let's go to the big thing. Let's talk about the economic impact, the industrial impact. Obviously, Uganda is proving that it can manufacture, it can scale electric mobility. What does this mean for job creation, industrial capacity, and skills development, especially for you guys in Uganda? Any one of you can take it up.
Okay, so maybe I'll start off, Paul, as my colleagues are also jumping in. I'll take it from an angle of digitization. So definitely when you talk about e-mobility or green mobility, it speaks a lot. Some would think maybe that you're taking away jobs when it comes to, the traditional ones that we have had. However, I think there are quite a lot of opportunities. When you look at the entire value chain of mobility and local production, definitely opens up a number of opportunities. But starting off from a technology perspective, and that's what I'll speak from, as my colleagues will talk about directly the mobility. In our side, we have actually created now specialists who support some of these new technologies. When you talk about mobility, IoT is what enables a number of, capabilities for automation. So we have actually, as MTN, now created specialists who support IoT to ensure that at least when Kira Motors needs technology around IoT, we can be able to fuse in and be able to support that entire value chain. We are also creating specialists who drive things like managed Wi-Fi, smart surveillance, both, for indoor and outdoor, just to ensure that that entire ecosystem is fully, actualized, and as well, it's possible for us to be able to, drive that support for Kira Motors. So for me, I see quite a number of opportunities. We are also looking at, exploring, creating things like chips that we can build foundations of technology on. So those are all opportunities that we didn't have before, but now we have, and I think it can only just get better. So I think I see a lot of opportunity from a tech perspective, and a lot of opportunities. So I think largely we're just heading for good times. I'll hand it over to my colleagues, I think, just to directly now talk about, the actual ground for automation. Maybe Fred can jump in there. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Paul. What we're doing is not just something for fun. It is something that is going to lead to social and economic transformation. And as Kira Motors, this is something that we are putting at the front. Currently, as Kira Motors only, we are looking at creating over 12,000 jobs at only our vehicle plant in Jinja. So now that is those are the direct jobs. But now you will imagine that where there is one direct job, there can be a multiplier effect of even 10 or 20. Now, the automotive industry is very interesting because it is often referred to as an industry of industries. That is why you are seeing that players like MTN can contribute something which is going to be fundamental to the mobility solution that we've already done as Kira Motors. One of the things that you need to note is, like, for example, the electric coach can have over 40,000 production parts on that bus. Now, what this means is that all these different parts have to be manufactured, tested, and tested from somewhere. And trust me, all these 40,000 parts cannot be manufactured from one plant, which is the Kira vehicle plant. So this means that we are presenting endless opportunities in terms of job creation, where the people who are dealing in any kind of skill, you will find that engineers are going to be contributing something to the building of these products, mobility solutions. We are having people from textiles, people who are dealing in electronics. We are having people who are dealing in terms of upholstery, people who are doing interior furnishing. So there is less opportunity base for anyone that wants to contribute to the automotive industry, and that is just bring the product on the market. But then when it comes to the service side, you will find that depending on how innovative the solution is, because for us we shall produce the product and put it on the market, but then the end user can then even multiply, and there will be endless opportunities in how this product is being used, how it is creating jobs, and how it is enhancing the livelihood of all our different fellow Africans. So as Scrum Motors, we are just the genesis of the endless opportunities that this industry presents. It's something that we are really pushing to see that we have different key players that are going to come in to add value and to enhance the usability of these products in all the different markets in Africa, but also in different parts of the world.
Just a quick follow-up. I was particularly impressed by what one of those Zambian officials said about this moment. He talked about the possibility of this opening up a whole new industry, and maybe even for Zambia to embrace this kind of innovation, maybe buy into this bus. For many African cities or many African countries, they're trying to modernize their public transport systems. What message does this journey send to governments and transport operators across the continent? For example, you've already crisscrossed what, 4 countries now?
Yes. Yeah, so ideally, the message that we're carrying is, of course, there is mobility, but then the message that we are sending out is that mass mobility is very important for urban centers, for us to reduce congestion, for us to be able to utilize the key resources that we have in a sustainable way. So the message is that the different governments and the different cities, as they're planning to streamline transportation in their different cities, as they're planning to streamline intercity transport, mass mobility is one of the key options that they have to be looking at. And we have presented this as one of the options that is readily available. And the message we are sending out is not that all the different solutions are supposed to come from one part of the world. As you can see, that we as Kira Motors could be mainly maybe focusing on one area, but then another part of the African continent can also be focusing on one other area in terms of mobility, in terms of enabling how we have connectivity and all these. So there is a lot of harnessing the collaborations that we can come up with as the African continent. But as Kira Motors, currently we are positioning ourselves that we can be the trailblazers. We can take the first step. We can supply these mobility solutions to the different markets, as these different markets also build their internal capacity to also be able to provide these solutions in their homelands. But as Kira Motors, we have already walked this journey. We are already at a place where we can actually supply these buses to the different markets as they also build their capacity to build some of these products in their own countries. Yes.
You know, when I was watching some of the clips that you guys shared, I could not help but I at some point I had to laugh. I said, when it comes to infrastructure, all these countries are the same. I wonder what your experience is like having crisscrossed some of those countries. Any one of you can speak to that, I guess.
I think Shaban will be the one best to answer that.
I don't know what Fred is basing on to say I'm the best to answer that, but one of the things that is exciting, obviously, when we were planning for the trip, during our debrief, we said this is obviously new territory, and there's a lot of us who had never been to certain countries. It's my first time in Zambia. It's my first time in Botswana. So there is excitement into stepping into new territory, learning about the culture. Still haven't yet picked up any word in the local language here, but it's really us stepping out of our comfort zone to be on this expedition with an open mind to learn about what Africa is and what it has to offer and how we plug into that. And I think that's also helping our narrative and how we work with the communities that we're able to engage. There's obviously challenges here and there. There are times when you don't stop in the places you intended to because of a bit of delays. At certain border points, you might take an hour more than what you had planned for, and that sort of changes the schedule in terms of how we expected to get to certain points. But for us, that presents opportunities for flexibility, because anything can happen on the road, really. And the fact that we've been able to cover 4,493 kilometers and we haven't had any incidences really speaks to the preparedness that went into organizing something like this. But there's Africa is really one huge pot of awesomeness and beauty, and we have the borders that say this is Botswana, this is Nigeria, this is Zambia, and whatnot. But at the heart of who we are as a continent is a togetherness, is a unity that is heavily unspoken. There's a willingness to support our innovations. There's willingness to learn. And when we're in Zambia, you'd hear things that sound exactly how we say them back home.
Yeah.
And that was a moment of like connectedness and reminding ourselves, wait, we're actually the same people. It's just a border that changed that. And this is what the expedition is bringing back, that power of connectedness, that Ubuntu, as the southern part of the continent loves to say, and we see that happen. And when
Paul,
we see people excited and stopping and speak to the story that this bus is, it's not just moving from point A to point B, but it's really a wheel of change that is changing the African narrative.
I see Paul smiling. Let me come to you, Paul. When it comes to connectivity, for sure, you guys have been having issues with connectivity. Do you see opportunities there for MTN to explore some of these places and maybe massively invest in some of these areas? Paul, can you hear me? Okay.
I think you need to rephrase it. I think he wasn't hearing it.
No, I was saying that okay, he's not there, but
he's coming. He's coming.
Okay, let me put it this way. From driving across some of these countries, Fred, you talked about some of the challenges. You pointed out how, for example, there are no charging stations anywhere. People are not ready for this kind of technology. If that was to be correct, if people are not ready for this kind of technology, how is Uganda going to maybe scale up and export these buses to countries that have no infrastructure for electric vehicles?
Okay, so Paul, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you. I can rephrase the question for
yes,
you.
I think. Please.
I was talking about connectivity. For the last couple of days, I've been following the journey. I've been trying to touch base with you guys. And in some cases, I could not touch base because of connectivity. I see opportunities there from my end. Can MTN do some kind of investment into this space where at least they can tap into the existing technology maybe to make those places better, to have better connectivity?
Yeah, I think Fred talked about the challenge on the charging, but I think traversing these 4 countries, there is really another big challenge on connectivity. So countries like, Botswana, where we don't have presence yet as MTN, you find that some places, don't have coverage, and which definitely inhibits some of our content creators and storytellers to remit back content back home. But secondly, as well, we have found areas where there are vast lands which are not used, like game parks. Those areas are not don't have good coverage, so that has really affected us. MTN's commitment and one of our mantras is that everyone deserves, the benefits of a modern connected world. So definitely, we are continuing to do that in every country that we're in to ensure that we power and cover coverage for connectivity. Definitely, this is a commitment we'll continue, traversing with Kira Motors into the countries that they're going. We believe there's opportunity. It's still a challenge, but I see it as an opportunity that we will continue to drive. Definitely in countries where we have presence, we will just continue expanding. But that said as well, Paul, we can't talk about connectivity and cross-border movements and not talk about also payments, because payments are also part of connecting. You're connecting Uganda to Tanzania through payments. You're connecting Tanzania and Zambia through payments. So one of the things that we're also trying to take to the world or to the African continent is to the cashless ecosystem payments, right? With our mobile money as well, our colleagues that were on the bus were able to make payments without carrying cash in Tanzania, using their mobile money in Uganda. And that is also something that we're trying to actualize across the entire footprint and the opcos for MTN. So connectivity, we're trying to invest in terms of creating a cashless ecosystem across the continent, but as well, we're also trying to drive coverage. But it's a massive investment. Definitely, we have to work with all partners, including governments of different countries, to drive this, because it can't be done alone. It has to be done through policy. It has to be done through investment. It has to be done through partnerships. But it's a commitment and a commitment that we want to continue doing, starting with the countries that we're in over 18 countries and counting, and in the ones that we are also seeing, like Botswana, we don't have correct coverage, but we may have buses here. So some of the countries where we don't have, we work with our roaming partners in those countries, and through our also subsidiary Biobab, where we drive the roaming capability to ensure that people stay connected, people stay communicating, and they are also able to do their work on the go. So that is our pledge and our commitment, Paul. Thank you.
Well, I think we are almost out of time. Very briefly from each one of you, when we talk about this, where do you see this? What kind of legacy does this expedition leave behind? And looking ahead, of course, when you finally arrive in Cape Town, what does success look for you guys?
I think for me, success is
I think we lost you. Hello? We lost your mic. Fred, can you hear me?
Can you hear me now?
Okay, yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
So I was asking, what does success look like once you reach Cape Town for you?
I think once we hit Cape Town, it's just going to, for me, is having that confidence from the fellow brothers on the continent about how these products are made for Uganda, for Africa. Because that's been one of the bigger questions and doubts. Are we going to get to the Cape? So for me, getting there and changing the narrative from are they going to get there to we made it from Kampala to Cape Town, and that being the narrative, that is success for me, because this will be the first time an electric vehicle travels 13,000 kilometers on the African continent, and that is success to me. But for me, it will instill a sense of hope, a sense of belonging, that a vehicle from Uganda, made in Uganda, went through each of those 6 nations and made it to the Cape, and along the way left a seed of hope, a seed of transformation, a seed of belief to every single person we interacted with along the way, and giving them that belief that Africa is ready. And often we talk about the future, being young, and, young people being the future. And I always challenge that narrative and say, the future is now, the future is young, the future is green, and the future is definitely African. And bringing that statement to life, for me, is a success.
Very good. How about you, Fred? Very briefly.
Yes, thank you, Paul, for the opportunity that you've given us to have this interaction. I would like to say this is already something that is leaving a legacy in our generation, and I would like to really appreciate. We are just representing the team of so many people that have had endless nights preparing this bus, planning for this expedition to happen. So I would like to thank all the staff of Kira Motors, being led by our CEO, Mr. Paul Isaac Musasizi, and the different people that are, even right now, as we are moving, they are still supporting in all different aspects. So this expedition is a message that we are carrying. We are just the people who are carrying the message, but there are people out there back there home that are supporting this expedition happening. And for me, success is us reaching the Cape when the bus is fully functional, when we've not had any major incidents in regard to safety on the road, but then also being able to move all the way from Uganda to the Cape while using only the grid. That is what success looks to me, because it is sending out a message that immobility is very possible. We are able to utilize our grid not only for lighting and doing other things, but we can use the grid for transport as well. And this is something that is very important. I know it is a record that we are setting as Kira Motors, in partnership with all our different entities, STI, MTN, and all the different private players. It is a record that we are setting. No one has ever moved in an electric coach on the African continent in one drive for over 10,000 kilometers. It is something that we are doing, and this is what success looks for me. Thank you.
Very briefly, Paul, what does success mean to you? Okay, it looks like
maybe Paul, for me, there's no shadow of doubt that this is not possible for sure. We have already proven it, already 4,000 kilometers and going. Our next destination is South Africa. So I think for me, we have already proven this is possible. And we have also showcased the
Well, I guess we've lost Paul. Paul, are you there? Well, to our guests, thank you, Fred, Paul, and Shaban. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Thank you joining us from the road, and to our audience for watching and listening. We want to hear from you. Please drop us a comment below and tell us what you think about this grand expedition. Do you believe this is the future of African mobility? Would you ride on a made in Uganda electric bus? Let us know in the comment section below. And of course, don't forget to follow, like, and subscribe to Paul Ndiho on Substack, X, Instagram, Facebook, Threads, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Spotify. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you on the next episode of Different Perspectives. For now, so long from Washington. Gentlemen, stick around for 1 second. Let me close out. Don't log off yet. Thank you.